show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Bouanga's ball in for Giroud. There it is! Igor Jesus is going to claim it. A corner kick goal in the 89th minute. LAFC found it.
Easiest form, but right now it's about desire.
Amaya. Giroud. Oh, shot it in! It's Bouanga! Despite the best efforts, Denis Bouanga once again having a massive impact for LAFC. 80 goals in all competitions, back-to-back seasons in Major League Soccer, 20-plus goals. And if there was ever a player on this LAFC squad that was going to will himself into finding the game winner with just minutes left, it had to be Denis Bouanga.
What is up, and welcome to another episode of the Voice of the Black and Gold, your go-to podcast for all things LAFC. I have my man here with me, LAFC Daniel. You guys will know him. If you don't, you definitely should. Go check him out on Twitter. Has some of the best LAFC content out there when it comes to posts. Always dropping off some of the best dimes for anything LAFC. Daniel, man, what a game we have to talk about today. LAFC Club World Cup. We're going to go see Chelsea. We defeat Club América 2-1. I would call it a $10 million goal or a $5 million goal with a $5 million assist. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just beautiful. The goal that we just seen from Bouanga, a little assist there from Giroud. And, at the end of the day, man, LAFC put it all together and gave us exactly what we have asked for from our existence. Like, we want to be on the biggest world stage. We want people to know who we are. And this is the type of tournament that will make that happen. Daniel, thank you for being here with me, brother.
Nick, thanks for having me, bro. I know we've been trying to get together for a while. So what a time for us to be able to finally do this. Dude, what a victory. I'm still all smiles watching the highlight clip back. Man, like that is a famous win. For me, that's the biggest win that this club has ever had. For me, this is bigger than MLS Cup. I'm not saying that the accomplishment necessarily is bigger, but what that does is that puts us now on a global stage, right? For everyone to get to know who LAFC is. And now it's time to put up or shut up. So, famous goal by Denny. I'll remember exactly where I was. I remember my reaction. I remember everyone that told me to shut up because I was screaming so loud. But dude, it was great. So I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
You talk about your reaction, and it was my actual first question. What was your reaction when that goal goes in? Because, we're all sitting here, we're chatting on our chat saying we don't want to go to PKs, and that goal goes in. And to your point, I won't forget where I was either. And my reaction was the same. I'm yelling, jumping, and screaming where my wife and them are telling me to hush. I'm on a stream with MLS Moves, and we're watching it, and I'm just in awe. But what was your reaction?
So I was having a birthday get together for my daughter. We were at a hotel. We rented out a couple of rooms. And yeah. And so it was a good time. And like my daughter plays soccer. All of her friends are soccer players. Like they were all into the game too. My wife was knocked out cold. She'd been working hard all day. So she's in the bedroom. We're watching it. I don't remember the words that came out of my mouth. They were probably inappropriate to be yelling around 12 and 13-year-old little girls, but I mean, they were all excited too. And then I started slamming my hands against the desk there. Man, I was screaming like a little kid. And yeah, my wife definitely yelled at me to shut up. So
sometimes they don't get the passion, right? It's just like, what are we going to do here? But no, seriously, as a fan, what does this qualifying for the FIFA Club World Cup, what does that mean personally, like for us as a club, in your opinion?
yeah, so when it comes to MLS, there are very few teams that people actually know, right? Like people around the globe think of MLS and they think of LA Galaxy. That's going to be the first team. They think of now Inter Miami because Messi's there. I don't know what other clubs people actually think of. And so when you watch this tournament, you're going to see, hey, Los Angeles is there, but it's not the Los Angeles team that we know, right? And let's say you go out there and you get a result or even a gutsy performance where you battle, you give them a great game against a club like Chelsea, who is world renowned, or Flamengo, who is one of the biggest clubs in Brazil. Dude, people are going to remember LAFC for this, and they're going to watch and they're going to say, oh, Giroud is there, Lloris is there. Who is this guy? And they're going to be talking about our Gabonese superstar, man. And, like for that type of recognition worldwide, that's what this means for LAFC. You've established yourself as one of the premier clubs in North America, not just MLS. So here we are.
So this is LAFC's first appearance in the tournament. Do you see this the start of something big for this club? Like, do you see them now competing for these types of tournaments every year, and then possibly the chance of making this type of run?
Yeah, but also this is a club that has competed in every competition that we've been in. We can talk about the performance in finals over the years, sure, but we always give ourselves a chance, and I think that we have the opportunity to really surprise people here. If you can make it out of this group, like that's not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, I expect to be back in this. I expect us to compete in every competition. That has to be the standard at LAFC. That is the standard that the club has told us that they want. It is the standard that we, as fans in Los Angeles, expect from the team. We expect excellence, and the team has given us that so far. And so we continue to grow from here.
So yeah, I agree with exactly what you said, man. I expect the team to make runs like this all the time. And it is true. Like out of 6 finals, we won 3, lost 3. It's going to happen. Right. But it's funny because when I was on the live stream, people were writing, oh, well, didn't he show up for this final? Because it's like a final. That was basically a final for us, And when he did, not only did he get an assist for the Igor, but he also made the goal. So it's like he really showed up. But you know what really touched me the most, man, when I was watching all the videos that was coming out was JT. And I posted it on X talking about it because when he ran out there, I mean, let me back up. Even when Denis scored, you seen Dolo run, and he sort of did this like thing towards the crowd, and that was great. But for me, what tugged on my heartstring was watching JT, because it was almost like a weight lifted off of his shoulders in a way, Daniel, right? It was he was so trying to get the guys hyped. He was so pumped up. He was so ready. And it was almost like a relief, like that he has been also feeling the tightness of saying, look, we've got to start winning. We got to win these types of games. And just watching his celebration after was something very special for me. And as a person that has supported this club from the very beginning, I have been a JT fan. But when people come after him and start saying certain things, sometimes you can't argue with it. I personally think he's the best president GM in MLS. That's my opinion. you know. But when people start coming at me and saying certain things, I can't deny it either. You know, like we need more results for sure. I get that. But I still believe in things that JT does. And so watching him celebrate like that was something very special for me. And I was like, there it is. That's what we want to see from our top, right? Like we want to see that passion because that bleeds into us fans.
Absolutely. Like you could feel his adrenaline going crazy as you watch him there, right?
Yes.
And does Thornton feel pressure? Absolutely, man. Like he is the face of the club. You know, when something important happens with LAFC, he's the guy that they trot out there. This is the guy that you're going to hear. When we make a big signing, they don't bring up the manager. They bring up John Thornton.
That's
and
right.
so when Olivier Giroud doesn't perform for whatever reason, John Thornton is the guy that people look at, right? But then also when you accomplish something like this, you know, it's right that John Thornton is front and center. You know, he's done an incredible job, and I will absolutely agree with everything that you said about him. My opinion doesn't differ, not even in the slightest, from yours. But do we deserve to ask questions of him? Absolutely, man. Just like anyone else in this role. And that is the expectation that he put out there from day one.
No, you know, and that's like when people start coming at me, I'm like, dude, you have a valid point. I'm just telling you that I like him, you know, and I like what he's done for us as LAFC. But your point that you're telling me, whomever it is bitching at me about it, is super valid. And I get it. But I think that also his hands were tied. Like I know for a fact his hands were tied with the Griezmann thing. Now we know that's for sure not happening. Wipe our hands, we move on. But I don't really put that on John. And a lot of people do. And I can understand why they would. I put that more on the owners. But I can understand why the everyday fan don't quite understand it. Like, no, that's on John. He should have got that across the line. And I can't like fight that either. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, dude. I get it.
Yeah, definitely.
So let me ask you, how big is this for reputation for MLS on the global stage? Because now we're possibly going to have, we're going to have 3 MLS teams in the Club World Cup. Seattle is not good at all. So we're really relying on an LAFC Miami, but globally seeing 3 teams in there from MLS, what does that do for MLS?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the results at the end of the day. You know, it's great. You know, Club America is a big club in North America. You know, I don't know what the global presence that they have is, but if people know Club America and they know that we beat them to get here, okay, cool. That's great. But if you go out there and you get rolled by Chelsea and Flamengo and you're not competitive and you look like you are completely out of place, then what does that do? I think that the ramifications could be negative. But what I will tell you is that I have belief that this club will put a product out there that is going to be competitive. Will we win? Will we make it out of the group? I don't know. You know, if I had to bet money on it, I would say no. But I think that people will be I don't want to say that they'll be impressed, but I think that they will respect the grind that they see from LAFC. In these big games, the team is more than likely going to be ready to play, right? The team isn't ready to play in every MLS game, and that has been one of my biggest criticisms of this squad throughout the year. But when the situation presents itself, you know, LAFC come to play. You know, you go back to like the Miami away game this year. Like it's not that we weren't ready to play. We scored very early in that game, you know. But then you see, okay, hey, we've got a big lead now. We're trying to protect it. Now we play this Dolo ball style of football, and you become so conservative. You allow Messi and friends to attack the goal relentlessly, what did you think was going to happen? I always make a comment on my podcast that it is a detriment to this team for us to go up first, to go up 1-0 early in the game, because we know what we're going to see. You're not going to get that this time around. You're not going to get that against Chelsea or Flamengo. You're going to have to bring the game to them. And so I do think that if we can go out there, put out a good product, a competitive product, a gritty product, I think that we can help grow the game for Major League Soccer.
I love your answer. I'm going to bring Will in as we're talking about this. Will, what's going on, man? Thanks for being here at the Voice of the Black and Gold. You and I were on that live stream. I had my buddy here, Daniel, with me, just going over some of the stuff. And, I was just asking him, what does this do for the reputation of MLS when it comes to 3 MLS teams being in there? And, look, I'm not throwing shade at Seattle, but, they're not looking so hot right now. So we're really relying on 2 teams. But having 3 in the Club World Cup, what type of reputation will that do globally? And what does that do for MLS?
I mean, anytime you get an extra swing, you got a better chance of hitting the ball, right? So 3 teams obviously gives you a better chance of performing well. Seattle has a terrible, terrible draw. I mean, PSG, Atletico Madrid, Botafogo, they have no chance of probably not just winning, but maybe even scoring a goal. LAFC showed that they could perform in a big game against Club América, win that game to go to the Club World Cup, which I was skeptical about if they could perform in that moment, but they did. And you just see a huge difference between LAFC and like the Whitecaps that we saw last night, where they got absolutely smoked by Cruz Azul. They look like they had never played a big game in their life. LAFC, even though they have some losses, they had played in many big games. So it didn't look like the moment was too big for them, which I think is a very, very important thing heading into this game. I think it's into this tournament, excuse me. And I'm just going to be curious to see what kind of moves they make. Now, Under obviously got announced today. I'm not sure if you talked about that yet, but they weren't going to pick up his option.
No, we haven't got to that one yet.
But because they didn't pick up his option, that gives them a little flexibility to maybe bring in another DP. And I'm going to be curious to see who they bring in for the Club World Cup, because this is a chance to really show the world who your club is. Maybe some people around the world don't know who LAFC are, and this will be the first time they ever get to watch them play. And it's going to be exciting. And they get to play against Chelsea, which that's a huge thing. I mean, Chelsea obviously hasn't been as good as they have been in the past, but still a big club, and getting to see your team play them on the world stage is a big deal.
No, it really is. I mean, I think, and Daniel said that he's not sure that we'll make it out of the D, and I respect that a lot. A lot of people aren't. I hope that we do, though, and I know you do too, Daniel. I know you hope too, because you're a hardcore LAFC fan. But I actually think that we could. I think that we could surprise people and actually make it out. Will also told me, Nick, slow down a little bit. We're just happy to be there. But I actually think that we can make it out of this group, guys. I'm telling y'all, I don't know what it is, but trust me, I am one of the biggest critics, but I, for some reason, believe that we are going to make it out of Group D. I don't know what it is, but let's talk about the overall match. How would you, Daniel, this one's for you. How would you describe the intensity at BMO Stadium for that game?
Oh, dude, it was electric, right? So watching it, I was watching on the DAZN app for the first 15 minutes. There was no commentary. So love Max, love Dunny. Couldn't hear them talking. All I could hear was the crowd. And man, all I could think about was I wish that I was there, because you could hear both sets of supporters. I mean, LAFC 3252 was so loud. And like you could see it in the crowd, and then you can feel the stunned silence when Club America goes down, and I love that feeling more than I love that home feeling of scoring a goal. I love shutting the crowd up, like that. It just was absolutely electric. That came across on TV. I know what it's like being there for a ton of big games, and Man, I wish that I was there. It would have been awesome.
You know, Will, you and I talked about it on your stream, in which we're going to be doing anytime that they're playing. But man, we talked about how cool it was that it really wasn't an MLS venue because of the flares and because of the way that they had it. You had Club America over on one side, 3252 over on the other, and it was just a mix. And the flares going, the smoke, just the chanting. 3252 sounded great with as many as Club America fans that were there. But the intensity, when someone that doesn't watch MLS and they watch that game, what do you think that does for them though? Like what is that? Is that changing their mind a little bit about, hey, I should actually start paying attention a little bit more to these?
Yeah, I thought it felt like a huge match. Just the atmosphere, the intensity of the game. It honestly, I know it was played at BMO, but it honestly did feel kind of like a neutral site match just because of all the Club America fans there, which I think is a good thing. Because if someone was like, well, of course, LAFC won because it was a home field advantage, there were more fans, but it was pretty split. Honestly, I saw a lot of Club America jerseys in the stands, a lot. Like the whole opposite end of the 32-52 section, the opposite end of the stadium, complete Club America fans. The whole entire side was Club America fans.
It was so cool to have it like that, though.
It was
wasn't
cool,
it?
though.
Like
It was cool.
They brought the Liga MX feel with their banners and everything over there, but then you had the 32-52 over here, and it was just beautiful. And it sucks that the TV didn't show all the flare shows and all the smoke, but I wish they would have, because on Twitter from Favi and all of them, we got to see all that, right? And
yeah.
It would have been great for the viewers' experience just to get that feel that we were feeling from all the posts that we seen from fellow people that we knew that was there.
100%. And I told you this during the game. This felt like the biggest match in club history. It just felt like it. It felt huge. And
Sure.
I think even though the MLS Cup, you have to give it respect because it is winning the league. This is giving you a ticket to a bigger event, winning this match, getting to prove yourself, like I said earlier, on the world stage. And I think maybe we're a little biased because they won, making it a little sweeter. I think maybe we would feel a little different. They lost, but who cares? They won. That's all that matters. And it makes it feel even better. It intensifies it. So you had a great crowd, great atmosphere, great game to watch. It was very fun. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. You know, I told you in the crowd when we were doing our live watch along, I had my in-laws here. I was trying to be quiet, but it was so hard because it was just crazy. There's so much going on. And it was like an instant classic. That's the best way I describe it. It was an instant. It's a game we will never forget.
Oh, I like that.
100%.
Soccer USA says Dolo saves his reputation on Legacy Night. Is he ready? He is ready for Hangover 96 now. And look, you know, I know the Dolo talk is whatever, but then he says, do you guys think that Dolo has improved this season? And I want to say this, and I was saying it a minute ago to Daniel. I think the passion that we've seen him running after the Dolo goal, after the Bouanga goal, was incredible. And I think that's what we all have asked for, is a little bit of that passion. When you say, Daniel, a little bit of that, we're not saying the words of it's not all about win, win, win. We want to see that type of passion. I think that his press conference after that game was also really, really good. If you guys haven't seen it, go to Voice of the Black and Gold YouTube. You can check it out on there. We put up all the pressers. It was a really good press conference. And so I don't think that normally he gives us what we want, because the presser before this tournament was sort of just blah, and it had us all feeling a little way like he really wasn't up for it. But the celebration on the field and that presser after was absolutely great. I don't know if he, has improved this season. I think like it's more of he's on his way out. And so it's just get out there, play your game, as opposed to him trying to shove his system down their throat, Daniel.
Yeah. So this is a loaded question, right? Like I could talk for an hour.
That's
about
okay.
This. With Cherundolo, would I say that he's improved this season? No, I wouldn't. I don't think that he has gotten any better this season, to be honest. I think that when you looked at LAFC And you saw that last 20, 25 minutes of us really giving Club America that work in regulation time. That was not Dolo ball. That was desperation ball. That wasn't the tactics. The tactics are to lower the risk as much as you can, right? But that has also, and again, this is why I say that it is a blessing that we did not go up in that game, right? Because now you're forced to open it up, and now you have momentum at the end of the game. Steve, I've been a big supporter of his for a long time. Time is up, regardless of what happens here, and he's leaving on his own accord. But I think that what we've seen from him has been really uninspiring all year long. And so, you're in a position now where you're in a knockout game. You got to throw everything forward, and you change the shape that the team plays in. You're playing with Under now as a 10. You're playing with Bouanga and Martinez. And no matter what anyone says, those are the two best wingers on this team. And then you have Olivier Giroud with the number 10, who is going to find him in dangerous areas, right? And you now have, because you're changing the shape, you're allowing those wings. So you're allowing Palencia and Hollingshead to get forward, and we're whipping in crosses. And dude, this is what we've wanted to see for so long from LAFC. And it's not because Steve deserves credit, because he's the guy that put them out there, and he is the one pulling the strings, but it's out of desperation, right? Do I expect LAFC to open it up and change the shape going into the Club World Cup? Absolutely not, man. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be to minimize those risks as much as we can, keep the game as tight as you can, and rely on your individual players to create moments of brilliance. But look at, once we changed what we were doing, how much it opened things up for Bouanga, right? Like Denis he felt like he was by himself, Obviously he was, he was running around, he's working hard, but he wasn't offering much. Nathan can only do so much. He runs hard, but he's not someone that is going to receive the ball in the middle of the field and get you into that final third, and so you're relying on Denis to do all of that. And that's not a sustainable way to attack. It's terrible to watch, one, and two, it doesn't work. The results this season have shown you that it doesn't work. And that's why when it came time to put up or shut up, he changed that. So, sorry, long-winded answer. Do I think Dolo's improved this season? No.
No, not long-winded at all. And I thought it was an actually great answer. Will, you've been critical of Dolo also. And what do you think about him so far this year?
You think I've been critical? I've been critical of Dolo.
Yes.
No.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah, no, Dolo, I don't think he's gotten any better. I think he's gotten worse each year. Personally, I think that he's kind of regressed as a manager. He kind of started off, he kind of peaked early, I guess the best way to say it, winning the cup his first year. Daniel brought up a good point about LAFC plays better when they're down, because they're forced to kind of adjust to, score. They got to play with urgency. So hopefully to God, they don't score the first goal in any of the matches in the group stage. Hopefully they're down, at least they play with some urgency. I think Dolo is very fortunate that he was able to coach a team that gave him a lot of resources, a very deep team. We're willing to spend money to bring in players that can help you win. And I think that they didn't win because of him. They won in spite of him throughout the time that he's been there. And I think that this is just my unbiased opinion. If they had a coach that was just a little better, who's to say they wouldn't have won more trophies? Because they've gotten there. I feel like Dolo was kind of like a deficiency for this team. I'm going to be very excited to see who they go with when he moves on at the end of the season. Hopefully someone that's completely different than what they've done so far. No Bob Bradley ties, no Steve Cherundolo ties, no Rezov or Mark Dos Santos. I hope they go completely outside for this next hire. But I would say, I posted this before the game, I thought Steve Cherundolo's legacy was on the line in this game, because he's already kind of unfavorable with a lot of the fans. Getting a chance to play at the first ever Club World Cup tournament like this is a big deal. That is history. LAFC will be part of that history now, and they had to win a big game to do it. So yes, I'm excited to see what life is without him. I don't think he's gotten better. I think he's gotten worse. but you have to give him props for getting you guys to the Club World Cup and just see what happens. It could be bad. It could be decent. It could be somewhere in between. But, hey, I'm excited to find out.
No, I'm excited to find out too. And Daniel, I want to talk to you about something because you mentioned Abobasi and Ordaz. Is that the front three that you wanted to start? Was the Bouanga, Ibobasi, and Ordaz, or were you more? Because I was preaching it. I personally wanted the under Giroud Bouanga to start. And I understand why most fans wanted it the other way and having the Bouanga and under come in later on. And that's ultimately what happened and completely changed the game, in my opinion. It sucked that under came down, but you seen when under and Giroud came in, the game completely changed for LAFC. Like, and Giroud looked fantastic. But where were you? Did you want the Abobasi and Ordaz to start, or were you hoping for the other?
So no, that's not the front three that I wanted.
Okay.
I personally, I think that David Martinez is a different caliber of player than I mean, really anyone else outside of Denis at this point. And so I would have loved to have seen him got the start on the wing. From my understanding, he's dealing with a bit of an injury, and that's why he didn't start, because there were questions about, how long he would be able to go.
Because he's hurt, right?
Yeah. And I mean, he's healthy enough to play, right? But can he give you, 70 minutes if needed, 80 minutes if needed?
Fair.
But I personally like Nathan Ordaz in the middle. I don't like him as a winger. I think that he is not good in that role. It's not even that I think that that's not his best position. I don't think that we are good when he is in the wing. I like him as a 9. I like him as someone that presses high, that works hard, and gets the ball in dangerous areas and puts away his chances. He's a good poacher, and he's good at making that delayed run. He is someone that he makes something out of nothing from central spaces. He's not going to progress the ball on the wing for you. And that is why I like David Martinez in that role. If not David Martinez, I would prefer Cengiz Ünder in the wing. But again, like, how healthy was that guy going into it? I know that he's been dealing with his fitness all season, and we saw he didn't even make it past he
15
lasted
minutes or 10 minutes and then got hurt, so
yeah, but what an impact he made on the game while he was in there. I mean, that he was incredible.
Yeah. I just think the vibe changed, and it was, and I left this up here because veterans should end the game. And I don't disagree with you. I don't. And again, the reason I wanted them first is because of the ice in the veins type of thing. Giroud has played the biggest games in the world at the biggest level, the biggest stage. And he is a guy that it's not going to affect. He's not going to get shook. And so that's why I wanted him to start the game. I wanted him to be like the Kalini, Daniel, where it was more like the general out there telling people where to go, settling them down, and then bringing in the young guns for the legs. But again, I don't get paid the big bucks, Dolo does, and it ultimately turned out to be the right choice. For sure. But I was pleasantly surprised with the guys that I wanted to come in there to start to see what they did, even though, as we just said, under leaves, Giroud was doing everything. Will, you kept saying it, like, dude, look at him run. I mean, look at him. I've never seen him run like this. And he really was. Like, Giroud was pretty impressive for the time that he was in there. He gets an assist. He had multiple chances on goal. Just absolutely, for me, everything that we've been asking to see from a Giroud, Will.
Yeah, I thought it was his best game as an LAFC player. The intensity he played. I know it was like, when did he come on? The 71st minute, if I'm not mistaken. It was something like that. I just think he played with a level of energy that I haven't seen him play as an LAFC player. He was creating chances. He was active. He was chasing. He just played with a whole different demeanor that we haven't seen. And you could see how much of a difference it made. It honestly felt like he was knocking on the door to score a goal. I mean, I thought there's a good chance he was going to score.
Oh, I thought he was.
And Daniel brought up the point of, having Under play underneath. And I can't remember what minute it was when Frankie Amaya came in for Under, but you kind of see it changed a little bit. Frankie Amaya didn't play terribly, but he did make a couple bad passes. He's not nearly as good as Under. I don't remember exactly how they shifted that when he came out. But when Under played underneath, you could just tell that is Giroud's style. That's what gets him going. That's what Griezmann and him did for the French national team. So it kind of makes it's a good thing, but honestly kind of pisses you off a little bit because it's like, Dolo, everybody knew this. We knew what Giroud's style was, what he flourishes in, a guy underneath him. Why were we not doing this sooner? And that kind of just validates that validates that opinion that that's what you guys needed. So, but hey, I guess it's better late than never. He looked good, and I think that Giroud is trending in the right direction heading into the Club World Cup. And I even saw an LAFC fan say on Twitter saying, yeah, should we buy him out this summer? Should we, go ahead and just cut bait with him in the winter? And I'm thinking, why are you talking about that now? He had the best game of his LAFC career, and you guys qualified for the Club World Cup. Why are we being negative about Giroud? This is something to build on. Like, let's see what he does. Why are you trying to say we need to get rid of him? That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense to me either. And I'll tell you what, I loved his comment about he's excited to see Chelsea again. It showed the fire that he has still to go and beat a former team, man. Like he is the guy that you want to go and play against Chelsea, bro. Like, stop it. He's starting to pick up the steam in the right time. And maybe Dolo is figuring a way to be able to put him into the system because, again, my complaint has been that he came to a system that did not suit him or fit him whatsoever. And it's not really a Giroud thing. It was more of a coaching in the front office thing before they brought him here because you don't go after a 40-year-old something player and say, hey, now change how you play. Because when you bring that type of caliber player, you're more trying to figure out how we can work around them. And that's just my thing about that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Club America did open it up. Brian Rodriguez got the penalty kick. Look, as us LAFC fans, we have a little thing with Mr. Rodriguez. He likes to be on horses with goats, and he doesn't always say the things that you want, but he's a good player. Watching him score against LAFC and then celebrating was not something that I like, Daniel. And, so what did that do for you when it was him taking the penalty kick, and how did you feel about seeing him be the one to score against LAFC?
Oh, man. Like for me to see him come on, right? Like there was a couple times where he had the ball inside the box and he hit it. And it's like, yeah, we know what's going to happen here. We've seen this story before. But he buried that PK. I don't know how well he hit it, but it went in the net. And what was interesting is he tried not to celebrate. Like, he tried to hold it in, and then, and then he decided to let it all out when his teammates came over. Right. And he's like, no, screaming. And I don't blame the guy, good for him. That's a huge goal. I can't think of a bigger goal that he's scored outside of a couple against Galaxy for us. I'm sure he has some bigger ones for America too, but for me, it's all good because I also got to see the agony of defeat on his face at the end of it.
I love the ending part of that. It makes me smile. They're saying that Timothy Tillman might be injured, which would be a big hit for LAFC. According to FootMob, Tillman got injured. Have you heard anything about this, Daniel or Will?
No, I think that he had an adductor thing and he missed out on the Montreal match prior to that. But he was tired at the end of the 115 minutes that he played. But if a guy's hurt, you're not going to let him go that long.
Will, what did you think about Tillman that game, actually?
I thought he played pretty well. I honestly thought, no joke, the whole team collectively played really well. I thought like it was a little shaky in the beginning, but then
was it their best overall game for you this season?
Yeah, I would say so because I think the stakes were the highest. I think they performed. And also, like I said, it wasn't necessarily the most favorable environment to them, even though it was at home. It was 50-50. They had a lot of fans that, weren't there to see them. I thought it was really, I think collectively, it was just a really, really good game. And I was just thinking to myself, we talked about this earlier. Thank God they weren't up 1-0. And we saw a park the bus moment like in the 80th or 70th minute, which anytime the Dolo does that, it never goes well for him, right? Never goes well for him. I just think everybody played. I thought Aaron Long and Segura played really well in that game. I thought they played really like Aaron Long had a damn good game. And I've been very critical of Aaron Long because I think he's, disappointed in big games and he's not consistent or he hasn't been since his 1 or 2 great seasons at New York. But I think he was really good in that game. I think Lloris was very good in that game. But of course, Lloris is never really the issue. Lloris is normally always pretty good. It's normally the back line that fails him a lot of times. I thought everybody played really, really well in that game. Now, you mentioned earlier about Abobase starting. That was like one of the weird things for me. I'm not a big Abobase kind of guy. I'm not big on him. He's had one good season. I thought Ordaz, like Daniel mentioned, would have been a better up top and maybe have someone else like Under or Martinez, whoever, start on the wing. I thought that would have been a more effective lineup. But, I mean, they won, so I guess it worked out. But I hope that if Giroud does not start in the Club World Cup at least a game or two, I hope to God that it's Ordaz starting up top and not Abobase.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get another one in here for Daniel because I know he has to get out here in a minute. So in Dolo's press conference, he said that he never felt, even when we went down, that this game was out of hand. He felt that they were in control of the game the whole time. When they did score, and by the way, it was only a PK. They didn't really have any shots on goal or anything. Were you worried at all at that point, Daniel, or did you feel, as Dolo did, that we still had this in hand and that we were going to get that goal to tie it and then to ultimately end up winning the game?
I'd be lying to you if I said I thought we would get the goal to come back because the attack was so poor for the first 60 minutes of the game. Thankfully for us, Club America didn't look very good either in attack, right? Like they had possession, they were moving the ball around, they were entering our defensive third, but it's also like the line of confrontation was midfield for us, right? And so we were almost inviting that pressure. But once we were down 1-0. For me, it's like, oh, here we go again with this, like now we're going to throw it forward, and now it's going to be too late. And those subs came still, in my opinion, I wish they would have come earlier,
Yep.
And we've seen this story before too. What I will say is that the decision to change the shape and to play with a 10 under Giroud was not something that we've seen from Steve. Really, we saw that when Razov took over in Portland, and then we saw that again against San Jose. But that was when Steve changed shapes, he changes to a 3-4-3, and he never changes to really a front four. And then once that happened, okay, hey, now we're cooking, and then it felt like, okay, hey, we're going to score. Club America was doing all that they could to kill off the game. They're wasting so much time. They're trying to kill our momentum there. But man, like, yeah, that last 20 minutes, once we saw Giroud and Under on, like, yeah, I did feel like we were going to get one back no matter what,
Right.
And I'm glad we did.
Well, Daniel, I know you got to go, man. I appreciate you being here with me at the Voice of the Black and Gold. Hope that you get to come back very soon. Just appreciate the time that you have been on here with us, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me. Really nice talking to you, Will. Nice talking to you. Let's do it again.
Yep. All right, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Have a good night,
guys.
All right, brother. Will, the chat's sitting here talking about, we got a lot of big games coming up and that the B team should play this Sunday for the rest of the May. How do you feel about that? Because we have a game coming up against Sporting Kansas City, but then we have the biggest game. I'm 100% agreeing with Carlo here. LAFC should not play any of the starters. You let the B team play. You even have to go to LAFC 2 if you have to. Let them play. You know, because Monday is when it all matters. You got to have your best foot forward. You want to go in there against Chelsea. It's game one for us, you know, and so you want to really show up and show out for that game against Chelsea. So you don't need, first of all, any injuries, and you don't need people to be tired. You need them to be rested. How do you feel about playing the B team? Because now you're jeopardizing where you are in the Western Conference.
So they play their first match 2 weeks from tonight, and is their last game this coming Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. I'm okay with if they play that, because that would be like an 8-day rest. I'm okay if they play their starters that game, because that's still a pretty substantial. You don't want to be too rusty. I would be okay with 8 games. I know that they play some Wednesday games. If they play a Wednesday game before that first match, I don't think they should play that. But if Saturday is their last game before the Club World Cup, I'm cool if they play that game.
So we have a Toronto FC game, but if I'm not mistaken, that one got pushed, right?
Possibly.
I think that gets pushed. That's on a Friday. I believe that one gets pushed because then we play Monday. I could be wrong.
Okay, so that game is that I don't think there's any way they're playing that game. But if they do play that game, the Toronto FC game, which is 3 days before the game against Chelsea, then they should not play any starters in that match. That should just be. But Saturday, if they don't play that game and Saturday is their last match against Sporting Kansas City, it's
then
okay.
You let them play.
Yeah, because it's 8 days. You don't want to be rusty. Right. I think honestly, you should let Giroud start that game. Let him hopefully get some more confidence heading into the Chelsea match. But also, too, Nick, another important thing is the window opened yesterday for Club World Cup teams in MLS. So starting yesterday until the 10th, you can start it's moved up a month. MLS teams normally can't sign players in the summer and add them to the roster until late July, like actually add them to the team. But now, because they're in the Club World Cup, they get to do that they get to do it a month early. So I'm going to be excited to see what all the Club World Cup teams do for MLS, but LAFC more specifically because of what we're talking about now. See what they add, who they add, how many people they add to go in the Club World Cup, because they definitely need to add a couple pieces if they truly want to compete. They can't just roll with this roster and expect to get out of their group. That's just not going to happen. They probably need to add 2 or 3 guys.
Fuck the Galaxy says this week we need those 3 points. Absolutely. No, we are saying play them if it's this week, and because it's 8 days until the Club World Cup. But if we have to play the Toronto game, which is on that Friday, then we should definitely play the B team and have them rested for that Monday. Again, it's not official, and I don't know for sure when we're going to hear if that Toronto game will be moved. Me personally, and people are going to say it's because I'm an LAFC fan and I'm being biased, I would like to see them move that game, because why should we be punished for making it? Same thing for Seattle if they have a game Friday or Saturday, and same thing for Miami. I'm not just saying it for LAFC. If any club is playing in the Club World Cup and they have a game on that Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it should be moved. That's just my opinion. Will, as an unbiased person, do you believe that's wrong or right? Like, obviously you believe that's right.
Yeah, I think that you should do anything you can to help out your teams in a big tournament like this. I mean, I'm not saying that you give them the win or any type of advantage. You're just saying, hey, let's just move it back. Like, let's get this team ready to go for the Club World Cup. I mean, why would you look what happened to Vancouver last night? They played a game Wednesday and they played a game last night. And what happened? Lost 5-0. Right. Cruz Azul hadn't played a game in 2 weeks.
Right.
2 weeks, and they lost. So, yeah, I think that you should accommodate them and try to, like, move that game around, and so that way that they're not gassed heading into that game. All the starters should play Saturday, and if they do keep the game the same on Friday, nobody should be playing in that game. That's a key contributor. But Nick, I'm curious about this because we're 50 minutes in. how excited and what do you expect about these additions, man? Because this is it. This is like this week we should be hearing stuff, who they might be adding.
You know,
it's gonna happen fast.
I think it is going to happen fast, and this is what I thought was interesting. I feel like it was all designed, right? We found out that, and we're getting a little information, right, Will? We now know that Under is not going to sign. We're not going to have him. So they let us know that already. So
which
now
we're not
worried about
right?
it.
We kind of expect that.
But we're not worried about it.
No.
Right? So now we know that he's gone. Okay. And then we know that Griezmann is not coming. Mm-hmm. So they've already closed the door on those things for us. So our hope isn't there. Look, is there a chance, and I know a lot of people want to talk about it, is there a chance that a Cristiano Ronaldo might come to an LAFC because they're in the Club World Cup? There's a chance, for sure. Is there a chance of these big name guys? Give me another name.
Pogba.
Pogba. Possibly. Like, these are possible names that LAFC could be talking to or talking about, should be talking to or talking about. And I would be surprised if they haven't talked to or talked about. You understand what I'm saying? Like, me and you talked about this on the phone. I would not be surprised if JT didn't already have scenarios. If we win, we should have A, B, and C ready. Let's see what we can get done. So, yes, I believe by the end of the week, we should hear something. And I would assume that we should hear something because the 16th is right around the corner, right? Yeah. And we want to put them in immediately, you know? And so, you know, I think it's a real, I mean, if we're honest, today's Monday. I would not be surprised if by Wednesday we even hear something, because that's how fast things have to move, Will. It's like, really, you're rushing at this point to say, hey, we need you now and we need to know your answer or I'm gone. You know what I mean? Like, even to sign Mueller, like, that's a possibility, but it has to happen immediately, and you need to come in and be ready. This is no sitting around waiting, any of that stuff.
Well, you know what I think they need to do is, since Griezmann's out, Ronaldo would be nice, but I don't know how he fits in, because you'd have to put Bouanga on the right side, you know, or Ronaldo up top, and that means Giroud's not playing. So it could happen, but there's a little bit of issues with that. I think what they need to do, Nick, is now that they have this DP spot open officially right now, they need to go balls to the wall and go sign a prime DP number 10 playmaker who can play underneath Giroud. So, there's plenty of South American players you can go to. I've done the scouting. We'll get our boy Gaston to tell us. Gaston's got the full report, I bet, man. He's doing the deep digging into it.
Give me some names, Will.
But I'm not scouted all these guys. There's young guys all the time. Like Evander. Did you know who Evander was before he came to Portland?
Not really.
No one did. But he was a good player that came to Portland and then went to Cincinnati. Imagine if Evander played on LAFC as a number 10. Imagine if Acosta played as a 10. Imagine if Hani Mukhtar played as a 10. There's all kinds of guys all around the entire world that you could go for. Yes, we know the big names, but there are guys we don't know who are just as good. And if you're willing to spend $10 to $12 million, you can get a good guy. And if you get a playmaker in here who can ball out and set everybody up, can dish out to Bouanga, can dish out to David Martinez, who can dish out to Olivier Giroud, an enforcer who can create chances in the middle, who knows what they can do. Just Under playing in the middle underneath Giroud completely changed the whole dynamic of this team. Right. And he's not even a true number 10.
No, I understand. Fuck the Galaxy says, I'm afraid of the lack of chemistry with the lone players. 2 weeks isn't much time. And maybe that's the flaw, though. Maybe that is the flaw, is that it has to happen so quick. And again, that is what we're asking for, is for someone to come in. So I'm going to ask a question, and this is something that was said in the chat, and I want to just put it out there to everyone else. Would it be weird to say, oh, well, maybe you go for someone, hear me out, maybe you go for like a Rossi back, and you try to go to the crew and say, hey, we'll bring Rossi back. Maybe you go to the Whitecaps and you say, let us bring Blackman back. stuff like this. Guys that already understand the culture of LAFC, that are playing very well on their teams. And do you go that route? Bring those types of guys within the MLS already that know the culture. Is that crazy to ask?
I mean, it wouldn't. Well, first of all, I don't think you want Tristan Blackman. He was absolutely terrible last night. Absolutely terrible last night.
Tristan Blackman.
I like him, but dude, he was so bad last night. He was really, really bad. Now, LAFC last time we had checked had 5 million or 500K in GAM last we checked, and that was back in March. I don't know how much they have right now, but I don't know how much resources they really have right now, Nick, without selling anybody. I really don't understand how they don't have more GAM than that, because they sold Bogusz, they sold Kike Oliveira. I'm not really sure how that's all they have. You'd think they'd have a little bit more than that. But either way, they have a DP spot open. They got to go swing big for it. And yes, they got to add. They can't just add one guy. They got to add probably 2 to 3 pieces to really compete. And you know what? Miami's going to do that. Miami's is going to add probably the former winger of LAFC, Brian Rodriguez. With Club America not qualifying, you guys essentially helped Miami land that player, because he's not going to be playing at the Club World Cup with Club America. So he's going to be a Miami player. They're already swinging for the fences. They're already starting to get things lined up.
Well, what if LAFC try to get back in there running? Or to the point of Soccer USA, what if you try to go for now Kike Oliveira again, since he has a new agent? You know, I mean, the reason I'm mentioning these people is because, again, they have I don't see them giving up Rossi either. But the reason I'm mentioning it is because we are in the Club World Cup, and we're talking about the chemistry, right, Galaxy? Like, fuck the Galaxy. We're talking about chemistry. And so, if we're looking for people who need to fit the chemistry with the group, why not go grab people that was already part of the group that we know that is still really relevant and good?
I just think that they could do with the resource they would have to give up to get them. I think it's more beneficial to sign players who aren't in the league, because then you have to take on their salary plus trade assets to get them. With buying players outside the league, you don't have to do that. You can just buy them, or free transfer, whatever it may be. I just hope that they do something. Like, we know JT has always been very timid, or a little hesitant to really go all in the summer. Like, they'll do a couple moves.
He's going all in this time. Don't worry about it. That whole $10 million is being spent, my guy.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. You got that money to spend. So, and like I said earlier, man, you have a chance to prove yourself on the global stage. Some people don't know who LAFC are. They don't know who they are. So this is the first impression people are going to see of this team, and they need. Now, Gio Reyna would be an interesting one. That's a good shout by Soccer USA. He could be an interesting, and he needs a club. I don't know if he's ready to come to MLS yet, but that is someone I would call and see if you could get him in.
Yeah, and then people are liking the Pogba talk. I personally like this one a lot. I like this one a lot. I'll tell you why. He feels like he's been done dirty by Europe and Serie A, which is my league. I love that league. I'm very passionate about that league, but they really did screw him over. He loves being in the United States. The only problem is, really, he loves Miami. So I don't know if he's willing to come to LA or not, but I could see him fitting so good with LAFC. Like, he would be an instant star here, bro. Like, he's already a star, but you know what I mean? Like, people would love them some Pogba on LAFC, watching him in the black and gold. It would be freaking fantastic. But the Gio talk is a real good one. I can also see that. And the Giorgio, man, I was hoping it would be a Giorgio, but we all seen that he took that job that I said he was going to take at Juve. He's now going to be a club director there. It's I think his dream job. And so no chances of us getting him at all to suit up. But, that's understandable. I miss him on the field when it comes to the defense. I don't think we've really replaced him. Hell, we haven't even really replaced Murillo. But, I think we need to be looking at the midfield and up top, especially with the unders leaving, not getting the Griezmann. These are the spots that we need to be looking for. And you're talking about two really good opportunities right there in a Pogba and a Gio. I mean, I really like those moves, Will.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think either one of those would be solid. Pogba would obviously have a little bit more name recognition. Reina would be in here to playing a lot more hungry because he's got to prove himself. But we're going to find out soon what they do. We got 8 days until the window closes. Moves are going to have to be made. If moves aren't made, that's a bad sign. I'm not expecting them to go moveless. Like, I'm expecting transactions, but we'll just have to wait and see if what happens and when they do this. They can't. I don't want to see Kike back on this team. So I mentioned that earlier, just because they don't need another winger. They need a playmaker. They need a midfielder. They need someone underneath Drew. They don't need a. We've already seen Kike with Drew. It doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. Yeah. Now Kike's good. He's really good. He's just not good for what this team needs right now.
You're hitting it on the. You're knocking the nail on the head. All right, now look, I want to switch it up a little bit because I want to know this. The chat's absolutely going crazy. So, Chad, help me out here. I want to talk about legacies. Okay, we seen that Vela, he retired. We talked a little bit about that and how big of a deal that is. But we almost seen like a passing of the torch in a way with Denis Bouanga, right? And so my question is going to be about Bouanga. Now, Bouanga has 80 goals across all competitions. How should LAFC fans talk about the legacy of Bouanga at LAFC? Like, is the torch passed to Bouanga now? Is he the biggest player of all time for LAFC, especially winning, winning this type of game to get us in the Club World Cup?
Well, I would say it's to a smaller scale, but it's like Messi and Lamine Yamal with Barcelona. Lamine Yamal is on a great trajectory to be very good for Barcelona, but Messi was the first. Vela was the first. He's always going to be in a tier above everyone else because he was the first to do it. He is the first DP in history, the first player for the club to win an MVP. He's got all these records. Like, he is in a separate category, in my opinion. And I don't really think there's anything Denny can do to pass him up because he's just in his own deal. Like, Denny will be remembered as a club legend because of all the goals and all the accolades he's got. But Vela's just different, more special to the heart because he's the first. He's the first one to do it. He's the first DP. He's the first prominent player LAFC ever signed. He's the first guy LAFC fans are going to always associate with. He's the guy who's going to get the first the first statue at BMO Stadium. He's going to be the first. So it's not to say Denny is not as good of a player as Carlos Vela, but Carlos Vela is just different. He's different. He's the first legend you guys ever had. He just
brought the culture too.
He brought he built the culture. He built this club. He built this. Without Carlos Vela, there is no Denis Bouanga.
Okay, so let me make an argument for you real quick, okay?
Okay.
People would say that he brought the culture because obviously he played for El Tri, and in the Latino Mexican community is huge in LAFC. So of course he was going to sell the tickets out in the BMO Stadium. When Denis Bouanga came over, he really was an unknown in a way to a lot of people. But then you've seen what he's made. Does that what is the word I'm looking for? Does that make a difference in your opinion on that? Because Vela came with all this and helped build this and, as I said, fill up the stadium. But for a person that doesn't have all that to still accomplish all that he's accomplished, you see what I'm going with this?
Well, I just think that Vela built the club and the club built Bouanga. That's the way I look at it. He built the club and the club built Bouanga. Most people didn't know who Denis Bouanga was before he came to LAFC. Everybody knew who Carlos Vela was. He built this team. That's why he will never be touched in LAFC history. He built this team. He built the foundation, the culture, the winning, the MVP trophy, first one they ever had. Like, he is suited up for this team. He was one of the first players ever played. He's the first signing they ever made. It's like puts him in a different tier. It's like Messi. No matter what Lamine Yamal does, he's never going to pass Messi up. He could win more Ballon d'Ors, more trophies, more World Cups. Messi's in a different tier. He did it first. He's the guy who built the whole thing. Now, Barcelona's always been good, but he was the one who really made Barca to what they were today. So it's just hard. It's just hard. It's not a disrespect to Bouanga or a slight at him. It's just it's Vela's that guy. He's the guy who's gonna get the first statue at that club, and I think that matters.
Yeah, I put a poll up on X about it, and people are agreeing with what you're saying. They said no, not yet. He's not past it yet. Now there is a chance that he could pass, especially let's say they go and they make it out of the Group D and he does something phenomenal. Absolutely, there's chances, but I think it's always going to be exactly what you just said. It's the first. It's the start of. It's the way that the culture is started, right? And so I believe that first of all, I believe that there's room for both, right? I believe that there is definitely room for both, and they both are great. To fuck the Galaxy, as Bouanga was there at that 2022 game. Yes, he was. He was part of that run, and so that's why I asked the question, right? Vela didn't win, then he did win when Bouanga was there. Now that Vela isn't there, Bouanga is still trying to figure out and build his own legacy without. But there is a difference. It's one that comes with a whole bunch of support and another one that's coming to make his support. And, look, when it comes to the French league and stuff like that, people knew Bouanga. He did great things versus Messi. They played PSG. He scored 3 goals against Messi and Neymar and them and Mbappe. Like, he did really good things. But here, he is building something that is absolutely incredible. He is building a legacy here. Just will it ever surpass? And maybe it doesn't have to. You know what I mean, Will? Maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe in our short time, we're allowed to have 2 just incredible legends that came and graced us at this beautiful club that we all love, the LAFC Black and Gold. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that torch is getting passed, and it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Well, I mean, it could be just a Mount Rushmore of greats. I mean,
we don't
have to. I don't know why we have to put them against each other. They're both They're both on your team, or they played for your team. I don't know why you have to pick one or the other. I just think Vela has the sentimental value of being the first, maybe your first kid, not that you love that second one any less. It's just your first is your first, right? Yeah. And that's the way I look at it. Denny is obviously the second best player in history. I think he just passed up Diego Rossi. Diego Rossi was very influential into that team. I think, he was an important piece too. He was the Robin to Vela's Batman. I agree. He wasn't around long enough to win a championship after they got rid of Bob Bradley. But I think that Diego Rossi was clearly the second best player in history of the club for me. Denis Bouanga finally passed him up. Diego Rossi is now number 3. But that's fine to be number 2 all time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so listen, we're going to play. We're going to play Chelsea and Atlanta. What are your early thoughts about this game?
Well, Gypsy thinks you guys are going to win, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think she thinks you guys are going to win. She's very excited to see LAFC play Chelsea. She feels very good about the chances. I think this is the game you guys are going to struggle the most with just because Chelsea's a Premier League team. I think she's going to be a mad dog afterwards. We'll have to see. But I don't think she's a Chelsea fan. I think she's actually a Manchester City or Arsenal fan. I'm not 100% sure about that.
Right now,
but I think that you guys will probably struggle the most out of this game, but maybe come out with a little energy because it's the first. Get that little extra adrenaline going, that bump. I think that I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do think this is going to be the one game that I think you guys are going to lose for sure.
Do you think that they can at least hang with Chelsea at all, though?
When I think of the game, which I'm going to preview this next week, like all the MLS teams in the groups, I think that LAFC might be able to make it maybe a 3-1, maybe 2-1 final if they're lucky, type game. But honestly, I mean, we're comparing apples to oranges here. It's spending and stuff. Chelsea has a salary or a wage bill of 200 million. If for LAFC to even look good against them would be very impressive. So, but I think LAFC could look good against them. I think they could. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they could look good.
So a 3-1 is in your eyes is a really good result for LAFC, though.
Yes, very good result. It's a Premier League team, right? They finished top 4, top 5 in the Premier League this year. That's a great. I mean, they're just let me look this up real quick because I just want to give a comparison because this is a true statement and shows the disparity of like how different these teams are. Like Chelsea's transfer market, which some people don't put a lot of stock into, but it's just a good thing to compare. Chelsea's roster is worth 912 million euros. 912 million euros. Okay.
And in euros,
and then
in dollars, that's over
pretty much
dollars.
Yeah. And then LAFC is only worth 54 million euros. 54 million euros, 912 million euros to 54 million euros. We're talking about something almost 20 times more, probably about 18 times more. So if they only lose 3-1, that's a hell of a performance, I think.
No, that's a
you
great
shouldn't
point.
be mad about it. You shouldn't be mad about losing to Chelsea. They're a Premier League team. They're 5th in the league. I mean, that's impressive. And it's not even about the score, Nick. It's just about the eye test. Do they look good? Were they competing? Were they playing hard? They look like shit. Like, that's my whole thing. It's the eye test, not necessarily the score line.
So what do you think that playing a Chelsea does for LAFC, though, like globally wise, when it comes to, people watching, and let's just say they do get that 3-1, is that given the respect to LAFC that they'll need?
Yeah, of course. I think it's a big deal because traditionally these Premier League teams or European teams come over here in the summer. They play to get a cash grab, like get the American fan bases to come watch their games. And then the people back home aren't really watching them. They're kind of like on vacation doing their thing. But this trophy kind of matters. So people abroad are going to be watching Chelsea. The fans in London are going to be watching Chelsea play LAFC. And like I said earlier, maybe this is the first time they ever even heard of LAFC. Get to watch them and see how they play. And if they play good, they're like, man, they look pretty good. LAFC, damn, I didn't even know about them. I knew about the Galaxy because David Beckham and Steven Gerrard. I didn't know about LAFC. They just looked pretty good against Chelsea, who finished 5th in the Premier League. So even a loss could be beneficial for this team if they play well.
So I really don't know who the other team is. I'm not going to lie to you. I know Flamengo, but I don't know who
the Tunisian team is. The Asian team.
Yeah, I'm not really sure on who they are. I would expect that LAFC is going to beat that team.
It's an African team, but I think it's in the AFCON. Yeah, Tunisia. Okay. I've never heard of them either, but the African team.
Never even seen the game of theirs, so I can't really judge.
Didn't even know they existed. But I'll say the AFCON you can't sleep on. They got some competitive teams, man. They really do.
Okay. I don't know.
And I would say that's probably the best chance they have of winning a game, but I wouldn't even consider that a guarantee. But that is the best chance they have at winning a game is playing them.
Okay. And then how are you feeling about LAFC's chance against Flamengo, though? I think that this game is going to be super chippy, right? Brazilian team, we know how they flop around a lot. They like to go to the ground. They like to do some hard fouls. I believe that we're going to feel for me, in my opinion, I think it's going to most feel like a MLS Liga MX game. It's going to be that type of chippiness that we get.
I think that this is going to be the most difficult game of the three, even more difficult than Chelsea.
Really?
Yeah, because they're expected to be competing with them. They're expected to make the game interesting. Chelsea, if they score a goal and look good, that's a huge win, even if they don't win. But if they look good against Flamengo, that's it. Or if they are expected to compete against Flamengo and possibly win that game. Because that's the final game. That's going to decide if you make it out of the group or not. That's a huge pressure game. It's a closer game talent-wise. It's a game to see who gets out of the group. So there is a lot riding on that match. So I think it's the most important match. The entire group stage is against Flamengo, and it's the finale.
And we're going to
a lot of pressure.
We're going to live stream it, and it's going to be fun. And make sure, guys, if y'all are in this chat, make sure you come and check that out because we had a blast watching the last one, didn't we, Will? I mean, we were yelling. I mean, I was hooting and hollering. It was everything that we wanted it to be. Man, I appreciate you coming through here. We've went a little over, and I appreciate you doing that with me, Will. The chat, you guys have been absolutely awesome. And I'm looking forward to the 16th, and not only that, I'm looking forward to watching the other games. I'm 3-1. I hope that we get the win. It would be amazing to get a win against a Chelsea. But, look, as you said, you're talking about 20 times, 19, 18 times more of a fee than what we pay. Even with Flamengo, they have a higher, I don't know what it is, but they pay a lot of money for their players. So no matter what, LAFC is always going to go in these things as an underdog. But I still have hope, Will. I have hope. I believe that we can make it out of this group. I do. I don't know why. Call me crazy. But LAFC, Chelsea's first game, then the other team, and then we get to play Flamengo. And as Will said, that's going to be what it's all coming down to. We're going to really see what happens there because they're playing for everything. And so the tension is going to be high. We know that it's going to be, as Will was just saying, the closest thing that we have to a real what these type of competitions would actually be for us. If we were playing like a Liga MX team or whatever, we're really going to feel that because they should be closer in talent-wise. And I think LAFC, if they show up the way they did against Club America, if they show up the way they did against Seattle, we have a great chance. But if they come out to playing the way that they did against Carson or against Montreal, we're done. It was good to be there. We're out. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think that we're going to show up and it's going to be we're going to be the first MLS team to get out of group stage, and that's what I'm hoping. I really am. But guys, thank y'all so much for being here with us, man. I appreciate the support, and let's root this team on. Make sure on Monday, 16th, that you come to this man's live stream. It's going to be awesome, guys. I'm telling y'all, the dude's putting out great content right now. It's blowing up. His last two just really the one that we did for LAFC was great. His one for the Whitecaps that was last night, phenomenal. Go and make sure you watch it, give it a like, subscribe to his channel. But not only that, come and join us for the watch-alongs. Have it on your TV. Have us talking in the background. It's fun times. The chat's always a really good time. And make sure y'all check that out. Will, you want to leave with anything?
Yeah, you guys should be excited for the Club World Cup. You get one of 3 MLS teams, maybe even the best chance of winning of all 3 of the MLS teams. And you punch a ticket to be one of the first teams in history to be participating in this tournament. So that's always cool. We'll see what happens. I'll have a Club World Cup preview coming out next week. Me and Nick are going to do every LAFC live watch along, see what happens. Hopefully you guys will join us for that. I'm going to do Inter Miami as well. Not wasting my time on Seattle because they are just absolutely in trouble. They might not score a goal in all 3 matches. So not going to waste my time on that. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting summer. And hey, Club World Cup is a bigger deal than the Gold Cup. Who would have thought that?
Hey, man, I'm excited for it. Thank you all for being here with us at the Voice of the Black and Gold. LA is black and gold, baby. Let's go.